My brother pushed me into the pool at my birthday party, right in front of my grandfather. That night, he redid his $80 million will, and she didn't get a dime. Show us some love and subscribe today. Also, let us know in the comments where you're listening from. We read every single message. I remember the exact moment everything shifted. The chlorine stung my throat as I went under. My grandmother's vintage Chanel dress, the one she'd given me before she passed away, clung to my skin like a shroud. Above the surface, I could hear muffled laughter. My brother Adrian's voice, impossible to mistake even underwater, yelling, "She can't even take a joke." When I finally broke through the surface, gasping for air with mascara running down my face, I saw them all. My mother covered her mouth, but her eyes shone with amusement. My sister Kesha was already recording it on her phone, angling for the perfect shot to post online. My father just shook his head, as if I'd somehow embarrassed him. But then I saw Grandpa Lawrence standing at the edge of the patio, his face like it was carved out of stone. Those sharp eyes, the ones that had built an empire from nothing, now burned with something I'd never seen before. Disappointment. Rage. Enough. His voice sliced through the laughter like a blade. The silence that followed was suffocating. I climbed out of that pool all by myself. Nobody offered me a towel. Nobody asked if I was okay. I was 32 years old and this was my birthday party. The dress was ruined. The pearls Grandma wore on her wedding day were scattered across the bottom of the pool like broken promises. Adrian stood there, chest puffed out, expecting applause for his little stunt. He didn't see Grandpa's expression. He didn't see the change, but I did. And something inside me, something that had been holding on for so long, finally broke. Growing up, Adrian could do no wrong. That's not just me being bitter. It's a documented fact. When he wrecked Dad's Mercedes at 17, drunk and high, they bought him another car. "Boys will be boys," Mom said, touching up her lipstick in the mirror while I stood there, completely shocked. When I got an A in calculus that same year, Dad didn't speak to me for a week. "You have to work harder, Simone," Dad told me once, his voice sounding tired, like my very existence exhausted him. "You're not naturally gifted like your brother." Adrian was naturally gifted at exactly one thing: manipulation. He'd stolen money from my piggy bank when I was a kid and convinced our parents I'd lost it. He'd broken Mom's favorite vase and watched silently as Kesha got punished. He'd even forged my signature on a loan application when I was 21, completely ruining my credit before I'd even had a chance to build it. And every single time, it somehow became my fault for not being more understanding, more forgiving, more family-oriented. Kesha learned from the best. She'd wear my clothes without asking, return them stained, and then cry to Mom that I was being materialistic when I complained. She'd cancel plans with me at the last minute, but expect me to drop everything for her drama. The dynamic was crystal clear. They mattered. I didn't. But I kept showing up, kept trying, because family is supposed to mean something, right? That's what I told myself every single time. That's what kept me diving back into the pool, metaphorically speaking, years before Adrian made it literal. Grandpa Lawrence was different. He'd built his fortune from absolutely nothing. He started with a small construction company back in the 60s, when black businessmen faced closed doors every single day. He turned that into a real estate empire worth $80 million through sheer determination and brilliant instincts. He never even finished high school, but he could read a contract like a lawyer and spot a bad deal from miles away. "Success is earned, not given," he'd tell me during our Sunday morning breakfasts at his estate, a tradition that started when I was 7. Just me and him, discussing everything from business to history to his childhood picking cotton. "Your daddy forgets that. Got soft with my money." Those breakfasts meant the world to me. While Adrian was sleeping off hangovers and Kesha was shopping with Mom's credit cards, I was learning. Grandpa taught me about real estate investments and compound interest. He'd quiz me on market trends, make me read the financial pages. "You got something they don't, Simone," he'd said just last month, his weathered hands wrapped around his coffee mug. "You got hunger. You got integrity. That's worth more than all the charm in the world." I never told my family about those meetings. They just mocked me for sucking up to the old man. But Grandpa wasn't just my grandfather. He was my mentor, my proof that our family could actually produce something real and valuable. He saw me when no one else bothered to look. And at that birthday party he saw everything. The party was Mom's idea, of course. We should celebrate at the house, she'd insisted 3 weeks before my birthday, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. Family should be together for milestones. Besides, Grandpa's been asking about you. I should have known something was up. Mom never wanted to host anything that centered around me, but I was stupid enough to hope. Stupid enough to think that maybe finally, they'd see me as someone worth celebrating. I'd just gotten promoted to senior financial analyst, bought my first condo, and paid off my student loans. The ones I'd had to take out because Adrian had ruined my credit and nobody would co-sign for me. Wear something nice, Kesha had texted. And bring that vintage dress Grandma gave you. Mom wants family photos. The dress. Got the dress. Grandma had pulled me aside at her 80th birthday party, 2 months before the stroke that killed her. Her fingers, bent with arthritis, had touched the silk. This was mine. I wore it when your grandfather took me to dinner after his first big deal. It's worth more than money, baby girl. It's history. Keep it safe. I kept it in a garment bag only worn once. But Mom had been so insistent about the photos, about showing Grandpa how much we valued family traditions. So I wore it. I actually believed that this party was about love, about coming together. I walked into that backyard in Grandma's dress, carrying expensive wine I couldn't really afford, and Adrian took one look at me with those cold eyes and smiled. I should have recognized that smile. The party started off okay. Grandpa arrived first, impeccably dressed as always, bringing me a small wrapped box. For later, he whispered, kissing my cheek. When you're alone. His driver helped him to a chair near the pool, and he watched everything with those hawk eyes, missing nothing. Adrian arrived late, already drunk, his girlfriend Tasha draped on his arm like expensive jewelry. He worked for Dad's company, a VP title he'd done nothing to earn, making 6 figures for a 40-hour week spent mostly golfing. There's the birthday girl, he announced, his voice booming. 32 and still single. When are you going to give Mom some grandbabies, sis? The table laughed. Mom actually laughed. I smiled tightly, used to being the punchline. Focusing on my career, Adrian. Some of us actually work for our paychecks. His eyes flashed. That was my mistake. A tiny rebellion. A moment of backbone. Dad coughed. Simone, don't be rude to your brother. He's just joking around. You're so sensitive. Sensitive? That word? They'd weaponized it my entire life. Sensitive when Adrian broke my science project. Sensitive when Kesha told everyone at school I'd stuffed my bra. Sensitive when Dad forgot my college graduation. I swallowed it down like I always did, that bitter pill of being less than. You're right, Dad. Sorry, Adrian. The words tasted like poison. Grandpa's expression darkened, but he said nothing. Not yet. He was watching, waiting, gathering evidence for a case I didn't even know he was building. It happened so fast. One moment I was standing at the pool's edge, talking to my aunt about her garden. The next I felt hands on my back, hard, deliberate, violent. No warning, no playful countdown, just a shove that sent me flying forward. Arms windmilling, Grandma's dress floating up around me as I hit the water. The cold was a shock. The weight of the silk dragged me down. I kicked hard, lungs screaming, pearls scattering as the necklace broke. When I surfaced choking, I heard it. Laughter. Not just Adrian but others too. The sound of my humiliation as entertainment. Oh my God, Adrian, Tasha squealed, delighted. You're so bad. Kesha's phone was up, capturing every second. This is going viral, she laughed. Simone, your face. I pulled myself to the edge, nobody helping. Mascara burning my eyes. The dress clung to me, ruined. 3 generations of history destroyed in seconds. I looked at Adrian, expecting what? Remorse? An apology? He grinned, the same smile he'd worn when he broke my toys as a kid, when he crashed my prom date, when he stole from me. Lighten up, he said. It's just water. Don't be so dramatic. Mom was laughing behind her hand, trying to hide it but failing. Dad rolled his eyes at my expression. Come on, Simone. It was funny. Learn to take a joke. Always so serious. But Grandpa wasn't laughing. He stood slowly, his whole body rigid. Get me my phone, he told his driver. Yow. The party ended within 30 minutes. Grandpa didn't say much, just made a phone call, spoke quietly, and told his driver it was time to leave. He paused beside me, where I was wrapped in a towel someone had finally found, still dripping wet, and touched my shoulder. Come see me tomorrow morning. Our regular time. Mom tried to keep the party going. Dad, you don't have to leave. Adrian was just playing around. You know how siblings are. Her voice had that edge of panic, the one that always appeared whenever Grandpa's money felt threatened. He looked at her with an expression I'd never seen him wear before, pure contempt. I know exactly what I saw, Denise. I know exactly what this family has become. He turned to Adrian, 35 years old, still acting like a damn child, still being enabled like one too. Adrian's face went red. It was a joke, Grandpa. She's fine. Why is everyone being so dramatic? That dress belonged to your grandmother. Grandpa's voice was quiet, deadly. The woman who loved you all. Raised you when I was working 18-hour days. That dress meant something. Your sister meant something. And you destroyed both for a laugh. The silence was suffocating. Then Dad spoke up. Dad, come on. It's just a dress. We can buy Simone another one. Let's not blow this out of proportion. Just a dress, Grandpa repeated slowly. Just a joke. Just siblings. Just family. He shook his head. I'm too old and too tired for this nonsense. Simone tomorrow. 8 a.m. He left without another word, and the party dissolved into awkward conversations and early departures. I didn't sleep. I sat in my condo, Grandma's dress laid out on my bathroom counter, trying to salvage it. The silk was destroyed. The pearls were gone, probably sucked into the pool filter. I kept replaying the moment. Not the push, but what came after. The laughter, the casual cruelty, the way nobody defended me, the way I was expected to absorb their violence and smile about it. My phone buzzed constantly. Kesha texted. You're really going to make a big deal about this? It was an accident. Accident. An accident requires a lack of intention. Adrian's hands on my back were deliberate. Mom called twice. I didn't answer. The third time I picked up. Simone, honey, your grandfather is upset. Maybe you should call him, smooth things over. You know how he gets dramatic about things. Family is family. We need to stick together. He pushed me into a pool, Mom, at my birthday party in Grandma's dress. And you laughed. Silence. Then, I did not laugh. I was surprised. And honey, you have to understand, Adrian has been under a lot of stress at work. His relationship with Tasha is rocky. He didn't mean anything by it. You're his sister. He loves you. That word, love. They'd weaponized that too. Love meant accepting abuse. Love meant swallowing pain. Love meant I was selfish for having boundaries. I have to go, I said and hung up. At 7:55 m.m. I stood outside Grandpa's estate, my heart pounding, not knowing I was about to witness something that would change everything. Grandpa's lawyer was already there. Richard Morrison, the same attorney who'd handled Grandma's estate, sat in the study with documents spread across the massive desk. Grandpa gestured me in, his face grave. Sit down, baby girl. I sat, confused and scared. Was I in trouble somehow? Had I done something wrong? Grandpa looked at me for a long moment. How long? He asked quietly. How long have they treated you like this? The question cracked something inside me. My throat closed. Always, I whispered. Since I was little. Since I can remember. He nodded slowly, as if this confirmed something he already knew. I've been blind. Your grandmother, God rest her soul, she tried to tell me. Said something was wrong in how they talked to you, treated you. I thought it was sibling rivalry, normal family dynamics. But last night I saw it clearly. The way they laughed, the way no one helped you, the way they expected you to just take it. His hands clenched. That wasn't family. That was cruelty. Grandpa, I called Richard last night. Told him I needed to make changes. Immediate changes. He pushed a document toward me. This is my new will. I'm leaving everything to charity and to you. The house, the properties, the business holdings, the investment portfolio. $80 million. Adrian gets nothing. Kesha gets nothing. Your parents get nothing. The room spun. What? Grandpa, you can't. They're your family. They're my blood. He corrected. But you're my family. There's a difference, and I should have seen it sooner. I couldn't process it. $80 million, the empire Grandpa built. All of it coming to me with stipulations for charity organizations he cared about. Richard explained the details. Trusts, tax implications, ironclad provisions that couldn't be contested easily. Grandpa had been thorough. "This is effective immediately," Richard said. "I'll file the paperwork today. Your previous will is now void, Lawrence." "Good." Grandpa looked at me, his eyes soft but determined. "I've made mistakes, Simone. Enabled your father's laziness. Spoiled your siblings. I thought I was helping, but I was hurting. I created monsters and I let them hurt you. This is me correcting course while I still can. But they'll be so angry. They'll—" I couldn't finish. The thought of their rage terrified me. Let them be angry. Let them finally face consequences for their actions. You think I don't know Adrian forged your signature? You think I don't know about the credit cards Kesha opened in your name? I know everything. I have investigators. I just chose to look away because they were family. He leaned forward. That ends now. You've worked hard, earned your success. Never asked me for a dime. Meanwhile, they've been circling like vultures waiting for me to die. The words hung heavy. When should we tell them? Grandpa smiled, sharp and dangerous. We don't. Let them find out when I'm gone. Let them face their choices. Then he paused. I'm not doing this to punish them, understand? I'm doing this because you deserve it. Because you're the only one who ever loved me for me, not for what I could give you. For 3 months I carried that secret. 3 months of Sunday breakfasts, of learning everything about managing the estate, of Grandpa teaching me the business from the inside. He introduced me to his contacts, his partners, his lawyers. You need to be ready, he'd say. This is a lot of responsibility, but you can handle it. I know you can. My family noticed nothing. They were too busy living their lives, too absorbed in their own dramas. Adrian got engaged to Tasha. A lavish proposal that cost more than my yearly salary, funded by Dad's bonus program. Kesha started planning a destination wedding, already asking when Grandpa would contribute. Mom redecorated her kitchen for the 3rd time in 5 years. I watched them with new eyes, saw how they talked about Grandpa like a bank account, how they placed bets on who'd inherit what. Obviously, Dad gets the business, Adrian said at a family dinner I reluctantly attended. And we'll all get pieces. Maybe I'll finally open that club I've been talking about. He didn't mention paying me back for the loan he'd stolen in my name. Grandpa's health started declining in month 2. Small things at first: forgetfulness, fatigue. Then bigger issues, a fall, a hospital stay. The doctors found cancer, aggressive and late stage. He'd known for 6 months, kept it from everyone. I wanted to enjoy my time without their performance of grief. He told me. Their fake tears and sudden affection. I held his hand in that hospital room. I'm not ready to lose you. You won't lose me, baby girl. I'll be in every decision you make, every life you change with that money, every person you help. Grandpa died on a Tuesday morning in October. Me holding his hand, reading him the financial papers he loved. He squeezed my fingers once, smiled and let go. The grief was a physical thing, crushing and complete. I'd lost my only real parent, my only true family. The funeral was massive. Business associates, community leaders, politicians. My family performed beautifully. Mom sobbed into designer tissues. Dad gave a moving eulogy about his father's legacy. Adrian and Kesha stood like pillars of grief, accepting condolences with somber faces. I stood apart, genuinely mourning, truly broken. The will reading was scheduled for the following week. Richard had prepared me. They're going to react badly. Are you ready? I wasn't. How could anyone be ready for what came next? The day arrived. The family gathered in Richard's office, expectant. Mom wore black like she was still mourning, but her eyes were bright. Adrian had already been talking about the properties and the investments. Kesha had Pinterest boards for her new inheritance lifestyle. Richard opened the document, started reading, and I watched my family's faces transform from anticipation to confusion to absolute rage. I, Lawrence James Carter, being of sound mind. Richard's voice was steady as he detailed the distribution. Charity organizations, scholarships for Black students, community centers, and the bulk. 70%. To me. The silence lasted 5 seconds. Then Adrian exploded. What? That can't be right. Dad said, standing. There's been a mistake. I'm his son. There's no mistake, Richard said calmly. This will was drafted 3 months ago, properly witnessed and notarized. Lawrence was of sound mind. Mom looked at me with such hatred I actually flinched. You did this. You poisoned him against us. You manipulative little. That's enough. Richard cut her off. Simone had nothing to do with Lawrence's decision. This was entirely his choice based on years of observation. Years? Kesha's voice was shrill. He loved us. We were his grandchildren. This is fraud. This is we'll contest it. We'll fight this. You can try, Richard said. But I assure you this will is ironclad. Lawrence anticipated contests. He left detailed documentation of his reasoning, including video testimony recorded the day after the incident at Simone's birthday party. It all came back to the pool. Adrian's face went pale. That's what this is about? A stupid prank? No. I finally spoke, my voice stronger than I felt. It was about a lifetime of cruelty. A lifetime of treating me like I didn't matter. That push wasn't a prank, Adrian. It was a perfect summary of how this family has always treated me. And Grandpa finally saw it clearly. They raged. They threatened lawyers. They called me names I won't repeat. Dad disowned me right there in Richard's office. Mom told me I was dead to her. Kesha promised I'd regret this. Adrian actually lunged at me before Richard threatened to call security. I left that office $80 million richer and completely alone. No family, no one to share my grief with. The money felt like stones in my pockets weighing me down. I'd gotten everything and lost everything at the same time. That night, I opened the small box Grandpa had given me at my birthday party, the one he'd said to open when I was alone. Inside was a note in his shaky handwriting. By the time you read this, you'll know the truth about the will. You'll feel guilty. Don't. You earned this through loyalty, love, and integrity. They earned their disinheritance through cruelty. The money doesn't matter, baby girl. What matters is that you know your worth, that you never let anyone make you feel less than again. I'm proud of you. I love you, and I'm sorry I didn't protect you sooner. Use this fortune to build something beautiful, to help others who feel invisible like you did. That's your real inheritance. Not the money, but the chance to matter. You always mattered to me. Love, Grandpa. I sat on my condo floor alone and finally let myself cry, not for the family I'd lost. They were never really mine, but for the man who'd seen me when no one else bothered to look, for the grandmother whose dress had been destroyed, for the little girl who'd spent 32 years trying to earn love that was never going to come. The money would change my life. It would open doors, create opportunities, help countless people. But it couldn't fill the hole where family was supposed to be. It couldn't undo the loneliness. It couldn't bring back the only person who'd ever truly loved me. I was rich. I was vindicated. I was right. And I was completely devastatingly alone. That's the real lesson nobody talks about when they tell stories about justice and karma. Sometimes you win. Sometimes the bad guys lose everything. Sometimes the grandfather rewrites his will. But sometimes the cost of being right is standing in an empty room, holding all the money in the world with no one to share it with. Sometimes justice feels a lot like grief. And sometimes, even when you get everything you deserve, it still feels like you've lost what mattered most. The pool water had dried months ago. The dress was gone, Grandpa was gone, and I was finally free. But freedom tastes bitter when you're drinking it alone. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe. Share your own experiences with toxic family dynamics in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the hardest thing isn't standing up to family. It's accepting that blood doesn't always mean love, and that choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. Hit that notification bell to hear more stories about resilience, boundaries, and finding your worth, even when the people who should love you refuse to see it.